and you probably did.
I call Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee to order at 6:15. We have two people coming in today, Bill Gill and Tiffany Foster. Bill, if you'd like to step up. All right. Thanks for coming in, Bill.
Hi.
Bill's going for the Traffic Study Commission.
Good evening. My name is Bill Gill. I've lived in Attleboro for over 30 years. I can take off my mask. I've been married for over 30 years, and I lived in Attleboro when I got married for 30 years. I worked for Eversource Energy Company for almost 40 years. I've been retired for 5 years now. I'm actively involved in the Attleboro community in various capacities. I'm a Eucharist minister, usher, and photographer for St. John the Evangelist Church here on North Main Street for about 15 years. I've been involved in the St. Vincent de Paul Society for 25 years. I also work down on Pine Street where the old Richardson School is. Doing that for about 20 years, volunteering down there. I'm also a warden for the Attleboro Elections Committee. I've been doing that for 5 years since I've been retired. I also work with the senior tax abatement program at Cape and Park, collecting the trash, putting in the dumpster, and cleaning up or whatever they need necessary down there. I'm also a member of the Attleboro YMCA. Other community experience I've had is I've been involved with coaching Attleboro youth baseball, soccer. I've been a Boy Scout leader, Cub Scout leader for over 20 years. Last year I noticed in the paper, the Sun Chronicle, that Mayor Rowe put an article in there that he was looking for different committee members to help out, in different capacities with the City of Attleboro, and that's where I noticed the ad for the Traffic Study Commission. I thought it would be very interesting to come down and try and help out and do what I can for the city. As I said, I've lived there 30 years. I really love here, and I just want to be actively involved and do whatever I can for the city.
Thanks, Bill. I can personally say I've known Bill for 30 plus years, and we were in Cub Scouts together, and Bill was a great cog in keeping everything going and moving, and did a fantastic job. And does anybody have any clarifying questions? President Delicio.
Thank you, Councilor Angelo. Bill, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. So could you talk a little bit about why you think you're a good fit for this role? Maybe some of your professional experience?
To be honest, I'm not really quite sure what they do to traffic study. I've been to one meeting here, and it seems though they get involved with different capacities of what people call up or send to the city saying they have a problem with a stop sign or traffic or whatever it is. Dealing with the public for over 40 years, I feel I have a very qualifying experience with them. When I worked for Eversource, I was in the field collections department, and I used to be going knocking on doors, and I've talked to many different people, and I think that I can really communicate with the people as well. Again, being in Attleboro, I know the different streets around here, and I'd really like to help out if I can.
Perfect, thank you. That answers my question.
Anybody else? Councilor Blair, sorry.
How long you lived on Maple Street?
Dexter Street,
Oh, Dexter Street.
yes.
I recognize you from somewhere, I just don't know where. I used to run a garage on Pine Street.
Okay, yes. Yeah, no, when I moved here, I lived on Dexter Street for 33 years.
Oh, well, I bumped into you somewhere.
Yes, through Scouts.
Councilor Waterman?
Thank you very much, Bill, for your interest in this, help the city out in this way. What have you noticed over your years in terms of traffic flow in Attleboro? Personally.
It seems to me that people are getting more aggressive with their driving. Taking some stop signs, okay? People seem to be more like rolling stop signs versus coming to a complete stop. Again, just on my street, on Dexter Street, it's, kind of a small street, but there's no markings, no like solid orange lines on the street. People still pass you when they shouldn't be passing, and I've noticed that all over the places. It's just, people going through yellow stop signs, not that I can do anything about it, but working with the committee, maybe they can give me suggestions on how I can try to help improve the situation.
Thank you.
I can share just briefly that while campaigning, the last 2 campaigns, the number 1 issue has always been traffic with people. So I appreciate your interest in this.
Right. Thank you.
Anybody else with any clarifying questions? Or? All right, well, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you. I'd like to call Tiffany Foster. Tiffany is up for the planning board. Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
So I have lived in Attleboro for over 10 years, actually for 12 and a half or so. We moved when my second child was 9 months old, bought our first house here, and have been on Maple Street ever since. We love Attleboro. It's been a great community. All 4 of my kids are in public school here, and have off and on been at St. John's, and we've been involved in scouting, and 2 of my kids are still doing scouting. And so it's just sort of a nice community. So I have a background in history, and I also took some design courses. Originally, I thought I might go into like historic preservation or something like that. Instead, I ended up with a family. I'm familiar with many of the terms that are associated with the planning board and with blueprints. And so I'm sort of already familiar with a little bit of what goes into design, thinking about how it affects our community. And I understand that we need to balance our resources, preserving our resources, like our great outdoor areas, with our need for growth in the city, that we have to find open spaces, but businesses and homes are also important. I'm interested in the community because I have or in this position because I have a community mindset and would like to give back to Attleboro. Helping to shape the path our city takes into the future is an exciting prospect. And I have time to commit to the committee and to spend time reviewing the proposals that come before the board. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, but all of my kids are in school full-time again for the first time. And so I have that time when they're at school that I can devote to looking through the plans that are submitted to the board and verifying that they follow all of our legal guides. And then I know this year is a year that the planning committee will look at the city's long-term plan. And I think it would be interesting to be a part of that process of reviewing our long-term plan and making sure that it still meets our goals for the future and changing it if it doesn't. So,
Great. Well, thank you very much. Anybody have any clarifying questions? Councilor Blair?
I ask this to everybody, so don't feel like you're being picked on, right? What is do you have an opinion about new developments and going in? Or what's your opinion on new developments? Because we've got quite a few coming up.
I think there are a number that, I know some of them are necessary and important. I would like to help shape the new developments so that they fit with our community ideals. I've heard a lot of negative things about the newest development that went in on Park Street, Pleasant Street down past the post office. I've not actually heard anything positive about that, but I know that the planning board had to approve it because it met all of the legal rules. There has to be a balance between new development and making sure that it meets the needs that our city has. Making sure that it's accessible for all families, because I think that that's probably a big problem in our city. A lot of the most recent developments are going for lots of money, but I think young families need homes too. And so trying to make sure that we meet those needs, as well as balancing the wonderful nature preserves that our city already has, is sort of important.
You do realize it's not the Conservation Committee, right?
I do, yes.
Okay. I personally think that we can't just shut building down.
No, we shouldn't.
We have a good set of rules and regs,
Yes.
you know, but you think you can be arbitrary about somebody
Yes.
proposing one?
Yeah, I know that the planning board has to approve submissions that meet the law. And it's not about whether I agree with what they're doing or how it looks. It's about whether or not it meets our legal codes. And if it does, then it gets approved.
That one you're talking about on Pleasant Street, that's a beautiful development. Nice homes.
The homes are large, they're fill the lots, they all look alike.
But there's people coming into town that don't, you know, this is a good bargain, Attleboro.
No, Attleboro is a fantastic place to live. And it's been far exceeded what we hoped when we moved here. Because at the time, a lot of people still considered it very blue collar. And we had a lot of people say, why would you want to live in Attleboro? And it's been a fabulous community. We're within.
If you came here 10 years ago, you hit a gold mine, come for what it is now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's completely changed. It's been wonderful to see the progress of the city, to see new businesses go in, and just building everywhere.
Nature of the beast, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Councilor DeSimone.
Yes, thank you. Tiffany, Kathleen DeSimone, I want to thank you for your willingness to serve the city, and particularly thank you for your thoughtful comments about being able to apply the law fairly, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
That is what it's about,
So I appreciate your time,
yes.
your commitment, and the way that you're going to approach your task. So thank you.
Anybody, any other clarifying questions?
Hi. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for your interest. What would you say is one of the challenges that you might experience going into the planning board?
I think there's a lot of law that has to be understood, and it can be very technical because I've been reading through those laws. And so I think that can be a challenge to make sure that what I'm seeing in proposals meets that requirement. And I think a lot of it is trusting that the experts who are involved in the process, because I know that there are a number of various components within the city that look at and analyze all of the different plans as well, that they know what they're doing, and that if they say that it meets the code, then it meets code. And so I think that's probably one of the largest issues that might come forward. Otherwise, it's just making sure that what's there meets the law.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none. All right, thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate it very much. And you guys are free to stay or free to head home. All right, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Tiffany. All right. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve expending of the Massachusetts Council on Aging Service Incentive Grant Award for the COA for $7,719. Such funds and any future grant amendments.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Motion is in order. This is for outreach and marketing for Council on Aging. The COA is relying on these grants. Any comments or concerns?
No, routine.
Okay, hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. For the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the reappointment for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Andrew Acosta, Municipal Building Commission, 3-year term, expires February 2025. Kurt Wheaton and Karen Hammond, Council on Aging, 4-year terms, expires February 2026. Sandy Veria, Zoning Board of Appeals, 3 years, February 2025 expires. Bonnie Moore, Conservation Commission, 3-year term, expires February 2025. Diane Mangiarotti and Judith Lusk, Board of Library Trustees, 3 years, February 2025 expires.
These are all reappointments, correct?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
All right. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Yeah, point of order, there were 2 names here that you did not mention. I don't know if you were planning to. Karen Hammond and, did you mention Judith
I
Lusk?
did. Kurt Wheaton and Karen Hammond.
Okay,
They're on the Council of Aging.
right.
4-year term, February 2026. I'd read them together.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. And these are all reappointments. Any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Bill Gill, 197 Dexter Street, to fill an expired term on the Traffic Study Commission, term to expire February 2024.
What we just had?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't vote that?
No, we didn't. We're going to vote it now.
Okay.
All right.
You need a second. I'll second it.
All right. All right. Any comments, concerns?
No?
No.
No.
All right. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. I entertain a motion to transfer 17,900 from the docket of January 18th, 2022. I entertain a motion to transfer $17,976.18 from account 112410000-578-300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1121100-511-000 Mayor salary and wages to fund the added grade 3 community engagement manager for the rest of fiscal year 2022. This is second.
Yes.
All right. This was discussed last term to help Catherine Ferrick's office. Any comments or concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. From the docket of January 18, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $196,297.07 from account 1124100-578-350 Citywide Reserve for Labor Negotiations to account 1220100-511-000 Fire Department Salary and Wages Full-Time to honor the memo of agreement with the Fire Department. This is contractual.
Second, that's the time earned, right?
Yes, it is. That's correct. Yep. Any comments or concerns?
No.
All right, hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. From the docket of January 18, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $17,109.09 from account 1124100-578-300 Citywide Reserve to transfer to account 1220100-514-020 Fire Department Night Differential to honor the MOA with the Fire Department. That is contractual also.
Second.
All right. Any comments or concerns?
No, sir.
It's fine, we need it.
Motion's in order. Any comments or concerns? No.
Order.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of January 18, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $52,671.23 from account 1124100-578-300 Citywide Reserve to transfer to account 1220100-515-010 Fire Department Holidays to honor the MOA, and that's contractual also.
Second.
All right, motion's in order. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
No?
All right,
Okay.
hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to accept the donations of $200 in Stop and Shop gift cards from an anonymous donor to the Veterans Office.
Second.
All right, motion's in order. Any comments or concerns? Hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Albert Richmond, 107 Dean Street, to fill an unexpired term on the Disability Commission, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Motion's in order. This was due to COVID. He didn't get sworn in, and so we just have to go through the process again. Any comments or concerns?
I think Albert would be an absolutely excellent member of this commission.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him.
Really good.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments or concerns? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. I entertain a motion to approve the following reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Stephen LeMay, Constable, 1-year term, expires February 2023. John Lepper, Council on Aging, 4 years, term February 2026 expires. George Spatcher, Board of Election Commissioners, 4 years, expires February 2026. Sherry Miller Bideau, Council on Substance Abuse Prevention, 3 years, February 2025. Jackie Romanicki, Redevelopment Authority, 5 years, expires February 2027. Charles Oliver, Board of Trust Fund Commissioners, 3 years, February 2025 expires. D. Larkin, Board of Recreation Commissions, 3 years, February 2025 expires. Paul Asfen, Traffic Study Commission, 3 years, expires February 2025. Bruce Ziegler, Board of Recreation Commissioners, 3 years, expires February 2025. Gail Clark, Municipal Building Commission, 3 years, expires February 2025. Catherine Merkel, Personnel Board, 3 years, February 2025.
Second.
All right. These guys, these are fantastic. They've been doing a great job and just up for reappointment. Any comments, concerns?
Nope.
All right. Hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. For the docket of January 4th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Stephen, and I apologize if I'm saying his last name wrong, Theberge, 46 Pine Street, apartment 322, to fill an unexpired term on the Disability Commission, term to expire February 2023. Now, Stephen, this is Stephen works for other commissions on the disability. He's got plenty of experience. Guy's I can't say enough good things about him. And a lot of great ideas. Any other comments, questions, or concerns?
I had the good fortune to meet Stephen several years ago. He needed a ride to go vote. He is blind, and so I assisted him in that process a couple of times. And I actually saw him walking down the road last summer, and I thought he'd be a great candidate, and I invited him to apply, and apparently he has. And he's been a great resource for the MBTA. They hired him to give them as a consultant on issues for people who are visually impaired. So we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, I agree. Good job. All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. From the docket of January 4th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve appointment of Tiffany Foster, 55 Maple Street, to fill an unexpired term on the planning board, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
All right. Basically, obviously, Tiffany was just here. I think she's, will do a good job. Any questions, comments, concerns?
That's a new appointment?
Yeah, that's a new appointment. That was Tiffany who was just here.
Excuse me?
That's Tiffany who was just here that just
Okay.
spoke. Yeah. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. From the docket of September 21st, 2021, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to add a grade 9 position of solid waste manager to the exempt classification plan. A request to transfer funding for this position will be sent at a later date. Second, thank you. The city's growing. This opportunity, this person will be able to work on getting grants the green initiative in the city, working on the compost center, and doing a whole list of many other things that I think everybody has in their packet as well. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Chairperson Angelo?
Oh, President Delicio.
Thank you. Yeah, so thanks for bringing this out. I think it's you can see it goes back to September. At first, I was pretty much dead set against this position. I didn't know that it warranted a 9. And that's really what my apprehension was. I've taken time, I've communicated with the mayor, I've communicated with the personnel department, other people familiar with what the position is. I think this is the appropriate grade, considering they're gonna have a budget of $4.5 to $5 million. They're gonna have 5 people that report to them. They're gonna be overseeing the solid waste program, including the recycling center, the compost center, all of which is a really massive undertaking. Right now, that department is inundated, and Jessica Horseman and Jessica Santos, they need the relief. It wasn't easy for me to come to this conclusion, but I think after looking at the classification plan, looking at where this matches up with some of the other positions on there, I think this is the right position at the right time, and I will be supporting this.
I agree with you, President Delicio. I've done a lot of the discussions with a lot of the same people and come away convinced like yourself as well. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think it's sorely needed, and too much was falling on too few people. But we do need a first-class person to come in. That's why we're going for a grade 9.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, hearing none. All right, we could vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, that concludes Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services. We are adjourned at 6:42.
I need to vote on that, Michael. We need a second and then a vote.
All right, can I get a second on that?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We are closed at 6:43.
Excellent, and we'll resume at 7.
On this committee, we have Councilor DeSimone, and we have Councilor Dolan, and myself. I'm Councilor Waterman. And we don't have any motions for this evening, but I have one item of business that I would like to just bring to your attention. Several weeks ago, I was sent a letter that initially came Christmas from the Attorney General's office in Massachusetts. And it regarded a business in Attleboro, 100% Auto, and which is at 21 Washington Street. And they wanted to talk to me about a series of complaints that they had received over a number of years. So it took me a while to get in touch with her, and she called me a couple days ago, the representative. And I was given kind of a quick overview, but just to be specific, there were 11 complaints registered from Attleboro regarding this business in 2019, 11 more complaints in 2020, and 19 complaints in 2021. I asked for a letter that could be sent to us, and she's talking to her supervisor this week, and I'm hopeful that within a short enough period of time, we'll find out more about the details of the letter. And so I was given a quick overview, but I'd rather wait until the details come in a letter, and then we'll take it up in our committee and see what we want to do about this. Are there any questions regarding that?
All right. What's the address on this?
21 Washington Street. 21
Yeah,
Washington.
Washington Street, okay. Between my hearing and these masks.
I know the mass is a 95. It's probably hard to hear through me.
Okay.
So that was the only business I had, but is there any other business that anybody else would like to bring?
Ty, I have a couple of questions, but I guess it's appropriate to wait till you get more information from the Attorney General.
Regarding this
Yes.
item?
Yeah, I'll wait till you have more information, just,
I may be able to answer, but I'll know much more specifically when I get the letter.
all right, well, then I'll ask. So when you say complaint, does that mean that those complaints were substantiated? And if so, was there already resolution? Like, what's the process?
This I have to learn.
Okay,
When I see it, I will get a clearer idea of the resolutions, if any,
all right.
and I'm going to write that down. But so I'm glad I called on you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. President Delicio.
Thank you, Council Waterman. First of all, nice work following up with the Attorney General's office. I know you've put in quite a lot of work on this, but to Council DeSimone's point, I think we're best to wait on this just until we have all of the ducks in a row. I want to make sure that we're not leaving anything open to any sort of unnecessary or unfair public interpretation. But again, I appreciate the follow-up on this.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Vote passes 3-0. That concludes the business of the License Committee. We'll meet at the next appropriate.
We are going to recognize Councilor Bennett because she has a guest for Traffic and Transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, President Delicio. I call the Transportation and Traffic Committee to order at 7:04. This evening, I'd like to start with welcoming our DPW Superintendent, Mike Tyler, to come speak to us a little bit about an item that's on the agenda for this evening. This is regarding the addition of a traffic light to Route 123, and that's Thatcher Street and Rathbone-Willard Drive. This item is in support of traffic control measures for the new high school. As you're probably well aware, Studley Elementary School, Brennan Middle School, and the new high school are all co-located Rathbun Willard Drive, the plan is to have that opened up for public safety and quick response for our fire and police. And in the interim, we're working on getting a light there at the end of that intersection to help with the flow of traffic and managing that. So I'd like to recognize Mr. Tyler to speak to the committee.
Good evening, Madam City Council, and thanks for having me tonight. I did bring a couple presentations with me. Actually, Jim Jones had showed me that never step away from the podium when they're up here, so I can explain a little bit more in detail. First, I just want to kind of clear up a little bit of history about this intersection. There's been a lot of misconceptions, misinformation put out there. This intersection has needed a traffic light for many, many years, ever since probably Brennan Middle School was actually put in. The only problem was Mass DOT has certain criteria for when you can put a traffic light in at an intersection. At that time, even though anybody who had children at Studley or Brennan or any of that area would know that it should have warranted it, it did not meet the criteria for Mass DOT to put a traffic light in there. So since that time, now we have the building of the new high school, where the roadway now is going to continue through. That is part of a big configuration is public safety, the way the police and fire, if anything, God forbid, would ever happen here, the way they have to respond to a building of this size. They have to come at it from four sides until they can kind of pinpoint where the emergency is, so they can kind of move their troops that way. So that's what the real reopening of the roadway is for. So during those talks, obviously, there was traffic studies done before the new high school was presented to the public. Once they came up with those numbers, we took those numbers to the state now and asked them now if that light actually would meet the criteria. It did, still just barely. Now, everybody asked, well, at the end of the day, is it really important to have Mass DOT's blessing on this when it's actually put into our roadway? 123 is a numbered road, but it's not a state road. We maintain it as a city. So the answer to that would be no in one way, but yes in another. Yes in the other way, we also want it to be a legal light. If something were ever to happen there, the last thing we want somebody to do is end up getting a lawyer or somebody, and then they're saying, well, actually, the city of Attleboro put this light here when it didn't meet any of the criteria for it being there. And when I talk about the criteria, there's different phrases. One of the greatest examples we got around here is on North Main Street at Tono Boulevard, when they put the set of lights in for Bishop Fian. Those are under a time system for when the school's in action and getting out. That's not what we were looking for. We're looking for a 24/7 light at this intersection. So we did just barely meet the criteria, but very difficult because then COVID hit, and now we're not getting anywhere near the traffic counts that we would anticipate. And Lord knows if they're ever going to return, to be honest with you. Nobody knows at this point. So that's just a little bit of a background of why we're actually here. Once the mayor became on board on this project, there was actually 3 neighborhood meetings that were held. One that was what we would call a failed Zoom meeting, because it was put in a presenter format instead of being open to the public. So that one didn't go over too well. We did have a meeting in these chambers with all the residents of the affected area. At first, we were just going to put the set of lights at Rathbun Road at Thatcher. We were not going to do a light at Black Oak. The residents in that neighborhood made it very well heard that that was not going to be acceptable for the amount of houses that are in there, and the ability to turn out of Black Oak and Green Lane, I should say, as it is now. So we went back to the drawing board and added that set of lights. It was never done for financial reasons. It was done for timing reasons. And I want to be crystal clear on that. We never took that traffic light out because of the finances involved with it. We took it out because that set of lights right there is now going to require probably a 12-second timer on it. Well, you can imagine every time that somebody's over there and that goes for 12 seconds, that upsets the whole pattern back again. So there was a couple of meetings on that. We did meet again with the neighbors. They were a little more thankful at that meeting that we addressed their concerns and come up with a new plan that is actually in front of you tonight. So again, I just think it's important. Everybody just kind of thinks that now we're just kind of jumping on this. No, it's been a long process. It was started before I became superintendent. So I'm going to say it's at least 6 years old in the making, if not a lot longer. I know a lot of people have been looking for it a lot longer, but the wheels really didn't start spinning in earnest till about 6 years ago. So when we originally were going to do this project, the scope of the project was only going to be immediately at the intersection at Rathbun Drive, Thatcher, and down to Snell Street. The only reason we were actually going as far as Snell Street is because Snell Street does have an active set of lights. That light will have to be removed when this light becomes operational. The reason, we need all that area to stage cars. If we had one set of lights too close to another set of lights, we have no room to stage vehicles. i.e. almost like Stocky Ave, where you'll see at Pleasant and Perry. There's times over in that neighborhood over there where there's no staging area for the cars. So just an example, that light will have to come down. It will cause some logistical problems. There's no doubt about it. We've tried to look at them, but again, we go back to the traffic counts. We can't get realistic ones. We're not finding out how many people are actually using Snell Street to get out to Thatcher Street, and vice versa. There was people actually coming on a Rathbun Railroad Drive that would go traveling down behind the gas station and coming up to Snell so they could actually make that left-hand turn safely to get out of there. So we do have some issues we're gonna have to deal with it. Once we take that light down, we're gonna have to see what the traffic pattern is. It's our hope that most people now are gonna go down to a signalized intersection for safety reasons. But I'm not going to sit here in front of you and say there's not going to be some type of problems that are gonna be involved with eliminating that light. Most likely, from our standpoint, is going to be the people at the elderly and low-income housing that use that. So we need to work on that. And also when the ball field, I'm sorry, the name omits me right now, when the ball fields are actually in play over there, there's a lot of traffic that comes out of that side street that depends upon that light where it used to be. So that's something we are gonna work on continuously. We feel very confident we can handle that situation. But the critical point of this whole project is to have a safe intersection, especially for now you're gonna be serving 3 schools, all the way from kindergarten to 12th grade. Number one. Number two is that we have to make sure that we are not reverting back to the old ways of County Square and having backups over there. If we're putting one light in to make it safer, and then we're causing the backups again that used to happen years and years ago at County Square, we didn't really solve many issues there either. So those are the 2 critical points of this project. These lights need to talk to each other. So again, just to backtrack a little bit, that was our project limits. It was just probably about 150 feet into Rathbun Road Drive, down to Schnell, and onto Green Lane. That project right there was somewhere around $850,000. After talking with the mayor, it was kind of like, well, we kind of have a problem here. The problem being this, so the new high school, when their limits, if you look at this on the map, their limit comes to right about here. So you have all brand-new sidewalk coming down to basically the U-turn at Studley Elementary School. And then their project stopped. Our project was gonna stop over here. And in the meantime, you have basically asphalt sidewalks with asphalt berm. They're not ADA compliant. The crosswalks are not ADA. So we were talking to the mayor. We said, well, that really doesn't make sense. You know, for aesthetics, number one, and making sure that everything's compliant. We want this to be it's a school zone. We want it to be as safe as possible. So the mayor said, well, you know what? Let's bring this project all the way up to their limits, where we're gonna put all brand new sidewalk, all new roadway, right up to their limits. So when everything is said and done, it'll have all brand new roadway, all new sidewalks. We are still going down to Snell. Then the mayor had a concern about, well, why are we stopping over here? Anybody knows Streetscape Stage 3 was actually done at County Square. It goes down to about Hawthorne Street with the decorative sidewalks. The mayor didn't want to see that short area not being done too. So that's where you stand today, where the project is in front of you at roughly $1.7 million. I'm hoping for your support for the project. I think it's critical in all the meetings I've had with the school personnel, with the conservation to get the permits running on this, and with the planning board. This is a huge project for the city of Attleboro, and the ability to fund it with city funds is actually huge for the city of Attleboro, where we're not tapping into our Chapter 90 funds. We get $1.2 million a year. So if we had to do something around $500,000 out of there, we're taking a big hit. And you'll never recover from a hit that size. It's important, and it also does allow us, since we're not using any state money, to skip some of the things on complete streets. What's that mean? You're not going to see bike lanes that lead to nowhere or anything at this stage. There's another project we're working on with Federal Highway and Mass DOT at Exit 3. So that may become a reality one day, but we couldn't see the financial aspect of doing it at this time. Again, that's just a very big project. I think a lot of municipalities should be very proud of themselves if they can handle a $1.7 million project of this size. Before I get into explaining a little bit more about it, because I already had multiple talks with Consigli, who's actually performing their project over at the new high school, the police chief about, I'll be coming in front of the city council later on. We're going to need some ordinance language here. There's certain areas where the chief wants parking to be allowed and certain areas for it not to be allowed. For very specific reasons like I can explain in a minute. I think one of the last ones I had is I've had multiple talks with the schools so far because to make this the safest intersection that we can, we're going to be actually eliminating, there's some crosswalks actually on South Ave right now that nobody knows how they got there. We all have our opinions on how they got there, but they don't belong there. When you're talking a crosswalk, it should at least be a signalized crosswalk. It has to be ADA compliant. So we're asking everybody's help, and especially the schools, to kind of change the walking pattern of the kids. Because right now, everybody knows they cross in illegal crosswalks, and then most of them go down Anderson Street. They don't even go to Rathburn Willard Drive. So we're kind of starting a little bit with the schools to try to get the word out there that if we're going to put up this light and it's going to be the safest way, that's what we want to be funneling these kids to, the safest possible way. So we're going to have our hands full a little bit on that, but hopefully the parents can help us out. So just something very important. So what's it going to look like at the end? The chief of police actually said he would, so when you come in off of Thatcher Street, up until the third house, which is about 150 feet, there will be obviously no parking there. He does want to allow parking on both sides of the roadway until they get up to the turn near Brennan. And then from the rest of that, all of that section of Rathburn Willard Drive, he's suggesting that be no parking. For good reason. A lot of people still use that parking area for using the athletic fields. And we certainly we don't want to decrease parking. We want to add as much as we can where it's functional to do so. It will be from Drummond Street, Rome Boulevard, to almost where Blue Pride Way entrance is now, and down to the signalized light. We are suggesting that it'll be all 20 miles an hour. That will actually be the total school zone. So that'll be another ordinance change we'll be asking for the city council to approve. They have on this section over here in front of the new high school in the loop, which is going to be called now Blue Pride Way. In between that is going to be a speed table over here. At this new rotary right over here, you're going to have 4 crosswalks. Those are all going to have crosswalk pedestrian buttons on them, but you will have to activate each one. So we don't want somebody pushing one button and having all 4. That doesn't make sense either, but that's something that the chief really wanted to see. It's a new configuration. We want to keep it as safe as possible. There's going to be another speed table right over here. It's going to be a speed table / crosswalk near Brennan School to slow down the traffic. I think that's about it when we talk hours. Yeah, so just to give everybody, like I said, a scope of the project, the plans are here. I do encourage everybody to take a look at them. So when you're leaving Studley School now, even though right now everybody still uses the 2 lanes, they will be marked out as lane. You will have a left turning lane only, and the other one it won't be designated right, but obviously it's one for a right-hand turn. Just catching back on that a little bit. Just like I said, we don't know what the traffic patterns are now. Anybody that's been over to school since COVID hit will tell you that you would swear that we don't offer free busing anymore because those parking lots are jammed when Studley and Brennan are getting out. We don't know how many cars. So when we put this light in there, if it works right the first time, we were just awful lucky. That's all we were, awful lucky. It's going to take a little bit of tweaking. There's no doubt about that. So I don't want anybody here to say that, you got to get it right the first time. It's impossible. And if we did, well, we'll take all the kudos to that, but again, that's just pure luck. The same thing at County Square. We have to see the traffic moving and what this is going to accomplish before we can stop timing these lights in.
Mike, can I ask a couple of quick questions?
Sure.
Just to clarify for the funding request itself, I understand this has evolved a little bit as the project has evolved, and we've gotten some clarity in the scope of the project and really what's required to make this successful and a safe intersection. Now, you mentioned the crosswalk improvements and the sidewalks to tie into the high school project as part of this. Does this also include not only the light installation, but removal of the Snell Street light as part of that funding request?
Removing it, yes.
Okay.
Not moving it, removing.
Removing it, yes.
Yes, yep, that's also part of it, yep.
Okay, and does it also include any sensors or timing issues that might be needed with County Street? I know there was talk at one time about having sensors along the road, if maybe those may or may not be necessary. Is that something that's scoped into this current funding request?
It is. I say the engineers can only give them what we can give them from the information.
Sure.
So I'm just going to use an example. They're going to use something like an 8812 on this. So the 4-second rule is a tractor trailer. Okay, so that's what they're saying. In 4 seconds, a tractor trailer can get out of there. So we're almost using that for a bus. That may have to be tweaked. We don't know the number of buses. I've actually asked the school. They're using less buses now or more. They said they're using the same. But does that make sense moving forward if they're not being used to capacity? I don't know the answers to that. I don't think anybody does.
So in terms
but
of your
that's all involved in the pricing for them to make sure when all is said and done, no matter how long it takes, that they get this timing pattern right.
So that includes some kind of a contingency to maybe work on timing and going back and reviewing all of that.
Absolutely.
And in terms of your lead time, I know there's obviously everyone's dealing with material shortages and all of that. When would you be looking to put this out for bid and to get the work started, just so we have an idea?
Sure. So actually, I'll tie that in. I'll give you some key dates that I wrote down. So the key dates that I have, we went out to bid to the Central Register on January 12th. The general bids are due on the 27th. We will then be waiting for the City Council on February 1st to voting on the funding. And that should get us somewhere into, we're hoping, the second week of February. I still haven't found out whether or not, since this isn't a loan authorization, whether or not we have to actually wait 2 weeks after the council votes before that funding becomes available. So we should be awarding the bid somewhere along the 15th of February with a pre-construction meeting on the 18th or somewhere around there, which leads to your point. That's at the pre-construction meeting, we need this contractor to know that he needs to order the traffic light signals. Right now, the key word is going around, and it's close to 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's, if you take 2 and 6 and put it together, I think we all know where we're talking. So the one good thing is they're not decorative in any fashion or anything like that, but still we're finding it a little easier to believe right now that it's not going to be as big as an issue because only one of the contractors brought that up in an addendum statement. They basically said, I can't, will the deadline be moved because they don't feel they could get them, the lights up in that time. We said no, we have a hard deadline. If we would have heard that from all the contractors, especially, I believe there was 26 companies right now that took out the online bid packets. We only heard it from one. If we would have started hearing that from 15 or something like that, then I think we might have had to reconsider whether or not that was a hard deadline. So with that saying, we would like to have that pre-construction meeting sometime around the 18th of February. Roadway opening season happens traditionally, about the 18th of April. So that would actually give them, there's a lot of conduit that has to go in the ground, the foundations for the lights. This is all readily available. When I say readily available, not as hard as the traffic lights. There's nothing readily available anymore. But there's plenty of work to be done before those lights have to be stood up. That's actually the last part of the project. So we have the roadway opening around then. The last day of school, they just got verification, is June 16th. That's if we don't have any more snow days. Another key fact in that is, my meeting with Consigli, they are not going to finish their sidewalks over here until July 5th, starting on July 5th. Why is that important? Well, we can't have two crews walking back to back, especially different contractors will create all kinds of deadly scenarios, I should say. It wouldn't be pretty. So at the end of the day, what do we have? It's August 26th is the deadline. The schools do open the next week. So it's a very tight timeline, but realistically, like I said, I don't think we have heard enough complaints about that timeline to not have a further discussion whether or not we should be delaying that or something. It can't really be delayed. But again, I think we're looking pretty good.
In terms of building in a contingency, understanding that the prices and the estimate were probably developed in 2021, and we've seen prices escalate across the board on so many things. What type of contingency is currently built into this estimate?
That I'm not 100% sure of. I know Jeremy put a little bit in it. Jerry actually, it's a capital improvement project, so it falls underneath the budget. Not a lot, I know that. But I believe when we had our sit-down meeting with the engineers, that the preliminary estimate they gave us, they actually went a little bit high on there. So I think Jeremy feels comfortable with that number. I certainly don't want to talk for him, but from what we're getting of the contractors that actually did reach out to me, this is what they call a prime job, believe it or not. There's some companies that actually love this, because they actually know they can come in and work on a job for 3 or 4 months, pull out a decent-sized profit and move on, and it doesn't upset their whole construction season. So that's a plus for us. I think that's about all I have without talking you to death.
All right, I'm going to open it up to the committee members and any other council members, but first to the committee members who may have any questions for Mr. Tyler. Yes, Councilor Dolan.
Hi, Mike.
Good evening.
So yeah, I agree that this is an extremely important project, and I'm glad the scope of it expanded, because you and I have talked numerous times about crosswalks that end to nowhere and there's no ramp for a wheelchair to access. So to make that whole span ADA compliant on the first shot is crucial. And again, when you said us being able to use city funds is a big deal, and I agree with that completely, because this is an important project that's needed. I'm super concerned about losing that light on Snell Street. Sometimes that's the only way I can get home. And the crosswalks that you said that don't belong on 123, I think we should discuss that, because I agree with that. There are like 2 on 123 that I feel that don't belong there, and especially with no light, and even with the light, they're dangerous. So I agree with you on that. So that's all I have to say, and I appreciate your time and all the information. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions?
I have one.
Yes.
So with the ADA compliance that we were just mentioning, the Disability Commission does have access to funds. I don't know if that had been looked into at all. Are you aware?
I didn't hear the whole question. I'm sorry. Very hard for me to hear with the mask on. It's very hard. I'm sorry.
I was saying that the Disability Commission actually has access to some funds for some of the compliance. Has that been looked into at all that you're aware of?
I don't think in this project we'd want to do it, but there's certainly other locations in the city that could use that. The city of Attleboro has done it for many years, actually, with the community development block grants, doing the same thing. The only problem that you have is it's very tough to put an ADA compliant sidewalk in a sidewalk that's pre-existing, because the majority of the sidewalk's not ADA compliant. So we have to be very careful what we put in to make sure maybe if we just have to do 50 feet or 75 feet to get to an area where it's compliant, that makes sense to do. But once you start ripping up the total sidewalk to put it in, then it kind of doesn't make as much sense. One sidewalk right now is basically, it's about $100 a foot to put in, so you can see the cost goes up very quickly. But certainly something we do, but I don't think we'd want to tie it into this project, only because I think we're under a very tight time frame right now, where I wouldn't want to see one part of the funding not be able to come through in a timely manner. I think that would just put us in a bad place. But we could certainly do it in other areas that we could look at.
Yes, President Delacio.
Thank you. Mike, thanks for coming down. I was fortunate enough over the summer, early fall, with Councilor Bennett to come to the public meeting he had here. I think it's important to reiterate the concern that the neighbors had at the beginning of the meeting, I felt was alleviated by the end. I don't know if you felt that. A lot of the questions I had were answered. Thank you for bringing up the contingency, because I'm very concerned about inflation and the rise in the cost of goods, materials, and supplies. So hopefully they did kind of overshoot that quote, and we'll be in good shape there. I think this is too important of a project either way. It needs to get done. The questions I had is, what time of day is the construction? Is this going to be Monday through Friday during the day? Is it going to be during the workday?
Great question. Great, because boy, it's tough to work on that area. That's why we did County Square at night. So most of the work, as far as putting the conduit in the ground, setting up, digging up one side of the sidewalk at a time, actually even the leveling course of asphalt, those could be performed during the day. They're not critical. Any finished paving will have to be done at night.
Yep.
We've already spoke about this at length. There's no possible way that you could actually pave that during the course of the day without taking the risk that somebody somewhere is going to come out of a side street and completely ruin the $200,000 of asphalt you just laid down. So the majority of it will be done at night. I think the history that we have with sidewalks being done in the city, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I think as soon as we can get enough stuff done, where as soon as school is actually closed for the year, then we get in Rathburn Road Drive and start on our end. I'm a little worried about the coordination with their end. We do know that one of the contractors that actually took the bid out on this was actually the contractor that is doing the work on the other end. So that would really be nice if that happened. But yeah, some of this work will have to be done at night,
Yep.
just for the safety and well-being of everything on the project.
Follow up, if I may?
Absolutely.
When you talked about the crosswalks down by the Attleboro Housing Authority, and then you mentioned the solar crosswalk signs, is there going to be a plan? Because I know we just appropriated money for some more of the speed limit signs and the...
So, yep, that's a great question. So one of the problems we're having is getting a timely turnover on the quote.
Sure.
We get all of ours are all TAPCO units that we use throughout the city. We did put that in the specs. We're trying to do this so we only have one manufacturer that manufactures all this stuff. So in case something goes wrong, I can have some extra supplies at the yard to hopefully fix them. So they're a TAPCO unit. We get them under a state bid through Granger.
Yep.
It's an all online process. So sometimes by the time we actually end up getting the quote back to us, and then I can make the funding request to the city council, I notify them and I want to order them, and I'm sure you've heard this from other departments already this year, well, that price is no longer good.
Yeah.
So we're having a little bit of a problem. So I told the mayor, I think what was prudent for us to do was there's actually 6 in the high school limits that were not included financially in their project. I'm not sure how that happened. And there's 1 in ours. So the mayor said, do a funding request to the city council for all 7.
Yep.
That way, we could always use them somewhere else if something falls through. There's plenty of locations where people have requested these, but it's important that we have them here ahead of time so that doesn't happen. So, and people who use them actually use them. They work very well. It's amazingly that some people just still don't use them, even though they're just pushing a button.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll see a request coming in front of the city council very soon for that.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chairperson Bennett.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much for your time tonight and for all the information. It's really helpful. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for the time. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mike.
So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to appropriate $1,750,000 from account 1000-359-000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to fund 3541 Route 123 Thatcher, Rathbun, for the purpose of engineering and installing a new traffic signal and associated site work on Thatcher Street and Rathbun Willard Drive.
Second.
Motion is in order. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
No
aye.
roll call.
Motion, do we need a roll call?
No.
No?
Motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022. Oh, I'm sorry. That one is pending. I'm sorry, let me back up. That one is pending public hearing. Okay, from the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to hold a public hearing on February 15th to add no parking on the southerly side of East Street, 510 feet from O'Neill Boulevard.
Second.
Motion is in order. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to hold a public hearing on February 15th to amend Chapter 10-4.11, isolated stop signs of the revised ordinances as follows. Delete westbound drivers on Bliss Ave at Bourne Avenue and replace with eastbound and westbound on Bliss Avenue and Bourne Avenue.
Second.
Motion is in order. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none?
Chair,
Yes.
I might have, in drafting that, I may have omitted drivers. It should probably say eastbound and westbound drivers on Bliss Avenue and Bourne Avenue.
Okay, should we
So I
move to
did.
amend? Okay, so I'll, will you take back your second, Counselor Dolan?
Sure. I take back my second.
All right, so motion to amend, is that good? Can I go forward?
You could just, Counselor
Just
DeSimone
read
could
it.
amend it, and
Okay,
then,
yes, please.
and then vote on it.
Yeah, I'll move to amend to
Okay.
insert the word drivers after westbound.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is in order. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And now you would vote it out as amended,
Okay, thank you.
if you want.
Sure. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, as amended, I entertain a motion to hold a public hearing on February 15th, 2022, to amend Chapter 10-4.11, isolated stop signs of the revised ordinances as follows. Delete westbound drivers on Bliss Avenue at Bourne Avenue and replace with eastbound and westbound drivers on Bliss Avenue at Bourne Avenue.
Second.
Motion is in order. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, that concludes the business of the Traffic and Transportation and Traffic Committee for this evening. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:39.
President Deluzio, I can go now?
You may.
Thank you. I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 7:39. I have 7 motions this evening. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $70,171.84 from account 1000-359-000, undesignated fund balance free cash general government, to account 14201-000-585083, Public Works radar sign system, to purchase 16 new solar-powered speed radar signs.
Second.
Is that Council Angelo?
Yes.
Thank you. So this is just all, actually, what Mike Tyler was just talking about. This is just more of the effort to get people to slow down. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $61,776.75 from account 1-000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 1630100-585046 recreation mower to purchase a John Deere 1600 Series 3 mower.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for the record. Does anybody have any specific questions before I fill you in? This is for a new mower for the Recreation Department. It's to replace one that's approximately 21 years old. It wasn't that long ago that we bought them a new one, because when I called Dennis, I was like, didn't we just get you one? Yes, they use 4 throughout the year. They need 4. The one that this is replacing, they've been kind of using for parts. So Dennis stated that, yes, they are indeed in need of a new one. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Peter? Council Blair?
I just want to kudos to the Recreation Department because they keep that equipment up second to none. When you look at their equipment, it looks new.
Yeah.
It might be 20 years old, but it looks new. They get every dime we put into their equipment, they get out of it, so I feel very
No, I agree,
confident in
yeah.
buying them a new piece of equipment.
Yeah, it was just, it's painful when you have to buy one and then buy another one a couple months later, so, but they do need the 4 that they use, so. Anybody else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $62,302.98 from account 1000-3590 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 142010005858082 Public Works crosswalk systems to purchase 6 new solar-powered crosswalk systems.
Second.
Thank you. So again, this is to purchase the solar-powered crosswalk lights. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $2,055 from account 1124100-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1420100-585040 Public Works equipment to cover the increased purchase price of a new Birmingham gravel thrower voted out on December 21st.
Second.
So, if you recall, like it says here, we voted this out on the 21st, and when Mike Tyler tried to order it, it was $2,000 and $2,055 more than when we appropriated the money initially. Does anybody have any questions on that? President Delicio?
Thank you, Council Dolan. It's more of a comment, and I think as we're voting out a lot of this stuff, whether it's project, whether it's equipment, vehicles, I think this is something we need to be very wary of. The fact that we are seeing inflation, the fact we are seeing increases in supplies, products, we could be seeing a lot more of these. We've already seen a couple over the last several weeks, so I think it's something to keep our eye on. Obviously, we've already appropriated the funds last term. This is something that's necessary, but I just think that we need to keep an eye on this, on the increase of goods and supplies.
Yeah, I agree, thank you. And it's one of those things where, in good faith, they get a quote, and if the quote expires, because I have a couple quotes here that have an expiration date, and, like you said, things are changing, and so I guess when they went to order it, it was more expensive, so that's why the additional appropriation. Does anybody else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $1,085 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1292100-524011, animal control maintenance of buildings to fund pest extermination at the old animal shelter.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for extermination. Apparently they use the old shelter, the new shelter, and animal control use the old shelter for storage, and apparently they had a pest problem. Does anybody have any questions on that? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $7,091.42 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 165-01000-524230, park vehicle maintenance to repair a support arm and hose protection chain on the grapple crane truck for Park and Forestry.
Second.
Thank you. So this is a fairly new machine that was damaged during one of our storms when they were trying to clear the street of trees and debris, trees that were down. And from what Superintendent Corsi states, that the repair is beyond the scope of the expertise of Park and Forestry at DPW. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And my last one this evening, from the docket of January 18, 2022, I entertain a motion to authorize the payment of an invoice to 123 Service for $35 from Park and Forestry. There is no transfer of funds needed to pay these bills as there is sufficient funding in Fund 2607.
Second.
So this is just, I guess this is for a vehicle inspection that they sent the bill late, so it ended up being for the last fiscal year, so they just need to pay this bill. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that's all the business the Public Works Committee has for tonight. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:48.
Second.
Second? Anybody?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at 7:48. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Call the Budget Committee to order at 7:49. And we have two items today. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $2,190 from account 1124100-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 1124100-578020, citywide bills from previous year, in order to reimburse an employee for successfully completing courses enrolled in during fiscal year 2021.
Second.
Thank you. I think this is self-explanatory. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. And then from the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to acknowledge the council's receipt of information on January 3rd, 2020 regarding a requested amendment to the revised water rate calculation, the revised wastewater rate calculation for the proposed fiscal year 21 budget for water and wastewater enterprises.
Second.
Thank you. This one was interesting, and I spoke with the auditor. It came up as a result of an audit being done by Deb Gould, and this is just to acknowledge the receipt of a memo from the mayor that was sent out by Virginia back in June of 2020. June of 2021. Last year, talking about the water rates. When we voted on the budget, these are the numbers we voted on. This memo that was sent by the mayor simply wasn't sent down the mayor's communications. It was sent in an email, and so it was never part of the public record. This, if you guys remember from last year when we were voting on the budget, these rates are the rates that were discussed. What happened was when the budget book was sent out, it was sent out with an initial water and wastewater rate. We heard from the solar company that they would pay us back a little bit and reduce the rate by a certain amount. And remember when we had the budget hearings, we discussed those rates. We discussed that this was coming down. The water and wastewater rates were being reduced by an amount. It was brought down to 509, I believe,
Yeah,
or
515.
515. Sorry, yeah, it's in the memo.
Yeah.
The original rate was 515. It was brought down to 509 for water, and the original rate was 960. It was brought down to 960. And that's what went into the budget. That's what we discussed on the floor. All this is doing is acknowledging that we received the memo back in 2020. If you go back to your email, it should be in there. And it's came up as part of an audit. So we're not actually changing the rates at all. This is what the rates are. This is just a paperwork thing. It doesn't actually change anything. Councilor Delizio.
Thank you, Council Corbett. So this is just housekeeping, more or less. So it started by the avenue in which it was sent down, as you said, but I think it's really important to drive home, this doesn't impact the rate. The rate was voted out of committee by this council at the appropriate place. It's just one of those I's that needed to be dotted, and, it just shows really the keen eye that Deb Gould overlooks and looks every budget over with.
Correct. And there's been discussion as far as like what we can do better to avoid having to do this housekeeping in the future. Ideally, what would have happened would have been that this should have been sent down the mayor's communication, so it would be added to the public record. But moving forward, we can do that. Councilor Delizio?
Yeah, if I could just follow up to that point, Councilor Corbett. I think the Vice President Corbett, the important thing is remember where we were in that snapshot in time.
Of course.
Dealing with the pandemic, a new budget director coming on board. So I think it was, again, ships in the night. But I think you're right. I think we're aware of it. And when these things happen, I think the administration and Jeremy and Deb are aware to have that second set of eyes on it.
Perfect. Any other comments on this? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Concludes the business. I move to adjourn at 7:54.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 7:54. Thank you.
I'll call Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 7:54. Members are myself, Councilor Conti, and Vice President Kozas. From the docket of December 21st, 2021, I entertain a motion to hold a joint public hearing on February 15th, 2022 with the Planning Board to amend Chapter 17-9.0 Special Permits and Chapter 15.0 Site Plan Review of the Zoning Ordinance.
Second.
Thank you. Everybody, I believe Virginia just sent the email out again. This was regarding to have a joint public hearing in late November, it first came out from the planning board, so she's gonna resend an email to update everybody on what this is regarding. Any other comments or questions? Just calling for the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I will call for an adjournment at 7:55.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 7:55. Thank you.
I believe it's Council Conti. Yeah, I think Council Conti.
Thank you. I'll call the capital improvements and city development meeting to order at 7:55. Sitting on this committee is Councilor Cobus as the vice chair and Councilor Reynolds. I have just a few motions to bring before you in a discussion. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $48,400 from account 1000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 584010, continuing appropriated rec site improvements for an irrigation project at Willow Fields.
Second.
I heard the second from Councilor Cobus, thank you. So I got a spreadsheet from Dennis Walsh, and I think I circulated it to all councilors. Did you receive a spreadsheet from me this week?
No.
Councilors?
If it was in our mailbox, I haven't been up there.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me see if I can share my screen. Can you all see the spreadsheet?
I did get that, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's let the public know that the Willett School field is heavily used, Monday through Friday, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock by the girls soccer team, and then at 5 o'clock till dark with the youth soccer. That's all the way from August right through November. And then on Saturday, it's used in the morning with the Hellas Angels soccer and flag cheer. And they go right from morning to dark on one day, but typically they run from morning until noon. And then there's a couple special events as well. But Saturday, throughout the whole season, from noon to dark, it's again the Hellas Angels soccer and flag and cheer. So on Sundays, there's the Guatemala Independence Day soccer tournament. So the field warrants being brought into the same condition as the rest of the fields with irrigation. And this measure has my support. I'll entertain any comments from councilors. I see none. Got motions in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to hold a public hearing on February 15th regarding the submission of the state's capital improvement program for fiscal year 23 to 27.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. I have gone through the entire plan meticulously, and I've also reviewed it with the mayor, and I'm going to hold off on all my comments until after the public hearing, because I want to hear what the public has to say without any influence from what my observations have been. So we'll have the public hearing, and following that, we have a process to go through to come up with a recommendation for the mayor. Are there any comments from councilor committee members or councilors in general? I don't see any. So I'll say the motion's order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. From the docket of January 4th, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $50,000 from account 11241-000-578380 Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital to account 11241-000-599-300 Citywide Transfer to Capital Fund, and to further transfer that $50,000 from account 11241-000-599-300 Citywide Transfer of Capital Fund to account 3428-499000 APS parking lots, other financing sources for cross associated with school parking lot repair and resurfacing at Hill Roberts.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. So, as you recall, during prior discussions, I was concerned about the process of the installation of, potential installation of solar garages, so to speak, in the parking lots, vote for Hill Roberts and the following motion. And I received an email from Jeremy Stoll explaining that before they sent the parking request down to the council, they discussed this issue with the solar team. And legal is taking a little bit longer than anticipated to give a play-by-play because they were concerned that the milling equipment might not neatly work with the installed canopies, that the paving might need to occur first. So the solar installer, a company named DSD, is looking into similar experiences with other projects, and those that answer back, they've assured us that the installation of the canopies will only disrupt where the footings go and that the area immediately around that. So they owe us back another, some further comments, but it looks to me like we can put this measure forward so that they won't be waiting for us, and we can get these off our books. Are there any other comments from councilors?
Just one.
Seeing none?
Councilor Blair has his hand up.
Councilor Blair?
Did I get you correctly? We're gonna do the blacktop and then let them come in and do the solar panels?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're not gonna disturb the blacktop?
So they're going to come in with the milling machine, take the old blacktop down, put in the new blacktop,
Yeah.
and then they'll come in with the solar panels afterwards.
Where's the wires go from the solar panels?
I couldn't quite hear you, Councilor.
Where
Where does the wiring go from the solar panels?
Well, they're footings, Councilor, so the solar panel is a slanted roof
Yeah.
with the panels on top,
Yeah.
supported by singular footings that go down into the pavement.
So the wires from those that feed out?
The wire would,
get
the wire would be
electricity?
inside the footings.
How's it get to the footings?
I'm sorry?
How does it get to the footings? Without digging up the blacktop?
They're going to have to make small holes in the blacktop in a small area around the blacktop and then repair it when they put in the solar installation.
Sounds like you're putting the horse before the cart, but vice
But it's
versa.
easier, Councilor, to get the milling machinery in there before you put in the solar panels.
I understand that, but I can't see them doing a finished coat of blacktop and then going in and digging it up to run wires. Doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not a solar panel installer.
But my recommendation, we leave it up to the professionals. Any other further comments?
Can we
Seeing
get,
none, motion's in order, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Councilor Cobus, I didn't hear you.
I was going to ask for the, well, I'm happy to vote this out of committee, and I voted yes. Can we get an answer regarding the electrical wires and what's going to be involved there for?
Absolutely.
For full council? Thank you.
And I'll have that for you next week.
Thank you.
So that motion passes unanimously. From the docket of January 4th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $365,000 from account 1000-3590 general fund, undesignated fund balance, general government, to fund 3428 APS parking lots for costs associated with school parking lot repair and resurfacing of Attleboro public school lots.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. All I'm gonna say is ditto. Any other comments? Seeing none, all motions in order, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes unanimously. And finally, from the docket of December 21st, 2021, of which there was a public hearing on January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve waiving the building permit fees for the roof replacement for the fire department headquarters and the Briggs Corner Station.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. To put it simply, it doesn't make sense to charge the city a building permit to do work on city buildings, period. That's all I have to say. Any other comments from councilors? Hearing none, motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That completes the business of the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I declare the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee adjourned at 8:05. Thank you.
Hello, I'd like to call Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee to order at 8:05. I am joined this evening by my fellow councilors Bennett and Holmes. And what I hope to do tonight is to discuss a lot, but I'm not quite sure how many votes we might get to, because I think there's a lot to chew on here, okay? So if I may, I'd like to just give you a rundown of the items in the docket. The item concerning the monthly parking, the public hearing is the 15th. I've invited Jeremy Stull to come down and explain to us why those increases are required, and some other questions I have for him. As to the public hearing about the proposed changes to the charter concerning a vacancy in the mayor's office, I've asked the city solicitor to come down on the 15th to explain that as well, and to answer any questions that we may have. Item number 3, moving down the docket, pertains to the ordinances proposed in September to Chapter 16 in the water. The public hearing was on the 5th. I've recently reviewed it just to refresh my own recollection. I've been in contact with the water and superintendent with some questions. What I'd like to do is ask you both if you would be amenable to meeting a little bit early, maybe 6:30 next week, read this in, and then we could vote on it at the following committee meeting. If you're inclined to want to refresh your recollection, as I needed to do, it starts at 55 minutes on the AACS video. Courtney starts speaking at 55 minutes about these. And one particular section is time sensitive. So I think it's important that we move on that, but it's relatively straightforward, and for the most part is mandated by the Water Management Act. Moving right along, item number 4, concerning, where am I? I'm gonna get by this.
So committee next week, 6:30.
Yes, Councilor Bennett, are you okay with that? Councilor Holmes, thank you very much, we'll just get that done. And perhaps we can even read it in and vote on it that night too, I guess. Pertaining, next up, going down the docket, is pertaining to postponing the effective date of the paper straws and plastic container bans. I'm still in conversation with the health department about that, and some issues I have about exemptions. So I'm gonna keep that in there for a little bit longer till I get some more information. Next up, pertaining, yes, Councilor Copus.
Quick question on that item. What is the current situation as far as enforcement for that? Because I know I've had that question come up a few times.
I asked her if there's been, I asked her, my specific question was, have there been any fines imposed or any exemptions requested? And the answers to both those questions were no.
Got it.
But I'm still in discussions with her about that stuff, so. But as far as I know at the moment, there's been no fines nor any exemptions requested. Well, strike that. I did talk to the mayor, who told me there was an exemption from McDonald's and Honeydew, and the only 2 requests for exemptions that the city received.
So if a business wants an exemption, they can reach out to the mayor, is that correct?
Well, health department, actually. If you read the ordinance, it's in the health department, and it only pertains to the plastic container ordinance, not the plastic straws.
Got it. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Moving right along, the item in the docket concerning the Historical Commission. So this is an interesting situation, and I've learned of late that the Historical Commission is a creature of Mass General Law. So in regard to the item that came up last week about their request for funds, there's no line item for them. They don't exist in the budget. They don't exist in the ordinances, because they are fully a creature of Mass General Law at this moment. However, Council Reynolds had submitted this business a while back, and I more fully appreciate it now, Council Reynolds, to create an ordinance to describe the body, their rights, responsibilities, and duties, And in doing so, reach out to the administration about funding them. And I also spoke to the mayor about this, and the administration is willing to fund the historical mission in the upcoming budgets. So what I submitted is have some language that I would like to propose, not tonight, you review it, but it's pretty straightforward. Again, it's all defined by Mass General Law, there's really not much we can do. They're quite powerful, they can do a lot, but I'll entertain that at the next meeting. I'll introduce the language before everybody, but if you guys want to read it. Yes, I'm sorry, Council Conti.
Thank you, Councilor DeSimone. I was following the same track as you and Councilor Reynolds, and asked our most capable assistant to do some research, and found that the Historic Commission was adopted through local ordinance on February 25th, 1966, when I was 13 years old. I was so thrilled to be a teenager. That Historical Commission is fully engaged with a full set of bylaws, and I will get those to you if you don't already have them for your consideration before you move forward, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Council Conti. What I was going to do is, so my committee members have the language that I'm thinking about that. I want them to read it, again, relatively straightforward. Get it into before us for consideration, and then most certainly reach out to the Historical Commission, make sure that they agree with what we're doing here, and then move forward and introduce it to the whole council. That was my plan moving forward. I just wanted to get the ball rolling on that matter. So I'm more than happy to see the bylaws, and I still need to reach out to them with this language. They've not yet seen the proposed language, so we'll be doing that. Councilor Bennett, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
All right, so, again, I know you both just received that, and I can send it out to anybody who's interested, but let me know what you think, and hopefully we can get that voted on.
Would you mind sending that out to the full council?
Will do.
Just so everyone has it?
Will do.
I appreciate it, thank you.
And then what I'd like to do is maybe vote out in 2 weeks. I think it's pretty straightforward. All right. Next up on the list is fee reports. If you're following me on the docket, this was business I submitted a while back because of the 10-year lag time between fee increases in the water and wastewater departments. I'm still researching this because I've got a couple of questions about how to best do this, and I've spoken to the department heads of water and wastewater and have slightly different opinions on it, so I'm still figuring out the best way to ensure that we don't wait another 10 years without discussing the fees. So stay tuned on that one. Okay. The business regarding the ordinances, changing the ordinances. Let me just find my list here. There was business proposed to amend the ordinances as they pertain to paid appointed positions of more than 1 year, such that the language read that those appointments would be up to a certain date. I think there are several concerns with this particular idea. The relevant authority, if you will, on these matters, the charter has a few sections about appointments. If I am correct, there's roughly 19 paid appointment positions that would be affected by this change, which is fine. My concerns, though, are, in my mind, the way I understand the language of the charter and just the nature of an appointment, the term goes with the job, not the person. And it could pose interesting situations if we were to implement this change, such as the mayor hires or wants to appoint person A for a term of 3 years. The council likes person A, but only for 1 year. Or vice versa, which is a worse problem. The mayor likes person A for 1 year appointment, but the council loves person A and wants to appoint them to a 3-year appointment. That's kind of a conflict that I'm not quite sure how we can rectify. I reached out to personnel, and Mr. Bebo said, yeah, that could pose recruiting and retention issues. Am I leaving my job because I've got a new gig for 1 year, or do I have the new gig for 3 years? So there's issues there. What else? Oh, by what matrix? How do we decide whether the person warrants a 1-year term, a 2-year term, or a 3-year term? Do we go so far as to give quarter terms, eighth terms, and anywhere in between, fractional terms? I'm not sure how we could do this fairly, that makes sense, and if it, yeah. So those are my concerns, and I know I'm dropping a lot on you to consider. And Council Cobus, this is your business. If you think I'm missing something, or you have another way of doing this, because I don't see how we could do it fairly and effectively as currently proposed.
That's fair enough. And if you could give me a minute to sort of
Yep.
to come back before striking it, I do agree with you that there is some challenges here, and there was a specific instance that initiated this new business. So I think you're probably right. If you could just give me
Absolutely.
like a 2 week.
Absolutely, and that's to anybody. This is, I just wanted to get, and believe me, these issues have taken me several hours to formulate my opinions on these, and I want to treat them fairly and openly. But I just wanted to plant some seeds for discussion and potential issues. So yes, by all means, perhaps at the next committee meeting in 2 weeks, we can vote on some of the things that we're discussing tonight. Okay, next up was an item in the docket for review of revised ordinances. The charter indeed requires that we, at 5-year intervals, the municipal council is supposed to prepare a proposed revision or recodification of the city ordinances. And we're supposed to do this under the supervision of the city solicitor. Couple of concerns. Number one, it's long, way overdue, because I'm not aware of any such extensive work being done since these ordinances were adopted in '76. Have we amended them? Yes. We've added, we've deleted. But this encompasses a complete review from start to finish. Is it meaningful and worthwhile? Yes. We could clean stuff up. We could get these things online, like so many other municipalities, where you can just search their ordinances in an electronic database, electronic format. But it's a big project. I'm concerned about time and expense. I'm concerned about, is it just the three of us? How much is it going to cost us? Do we need a special committee? Is this an opportunity to recruit the input of others? So those are some of the challenges. Some of the opportunities, as I mentioned, is I'd love to get them online electronically. I'm all for clarity and simplicity, and I'm all for deleting stuff that is no longer applicable or redundant. But the challenge before us is, if we go forward, how the heck are we going to do it? So I welcome your thoughts as you digest those issues down the road, but it's a pretty big job. All right? So let me know. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Councilor DeSimone. Yeah, it's quite the big job. And the last time the city ordinances were codified was 1976.
Yes.
The charter says, and, we've got to, we can't pick and choose where we want to follow the charter. So I understand it's a big job, that's why I introduced it. I think that it's something that needs to take place.
Yeah.
Because when we look at the ordinances, we need to figure out what's enforceable on the books. I think there's a lot of outdated, obsolete ordinances, and if we can't enforce an ordinance, is it really an ordinance? So it's, that's, I think we look at it and we figure out what it is we need to do, and we take it from there.
No, agreed. It's absolutely in the charter. It should be done. It needs to be done. It's just, it's going to be a project, and I'm not sure the expense, but I'm not saying it's not worth it by any means. Councilor Holmes?
I think that maybe we should do a little research and figure out if there's another community that's taken this task on and how they went about it. And I do think that it is something we should do, and we have the right people on board to do it, so I'm up for that.
Yeah. Well, we might need help, so I don't know if we can, if this committee does it, or we make a special committee, because, there's a lot. But I'm all for doing it. I think it's welcome, but it's going to be a big task. But let's think about ways that we could be doing it.
Kathleen, I don't know if Council Conti's wiping
I'm
her
sorry,
screen.
I'm sorry, Councilor Conti. Sorry.
I have 2 cents to throw into this, because I was going to introduce new business to cause the same thing. We've gone through the ordinances, through the first 10 articles, and I found 14 items that are not in order, that can easily be replaced one by one through the council, and just to correct silly things like the fact that marijuana is no longer illegal. Having been chairman of the Rules of Procedure for 2 years in getting those rules and procedures updated, it's not an impossible task. ordinances are different than rules and procedures, I understand that. And I just think that perhaps Councilor DeSimone should think about a hybrid approach. Maybe there's some things that we can easily fix and patch up in the council with your committee. And maybe there's some things that need to go out at great expense to have legal review by the attorney, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Council Conti. I appreciate that, but the charter says, such revisions and recodifications shall be prepared under the supervision of the city solicitor or another special counsel retained for that purpose. So I guess what I would propose is, I'll meet with the solicitor, and I can ask her opinion on how we might do this, if she's perhaps done it elsewhere, and start to devise some kind of approach for how we're going to do this. So, you on board with that?
100%.
I'll reach out to the solicitor and see what she thinks and how we might proceed. But it could be a very interesting project, and I would love if there were funds from the city to make an electronic version online like so many of the municipalities have.
Councilor DeSimone, if I may?
Yes,
Thank
sorry.
you. I think Council Conti brings up an interesting point. If we find out that right now the cost is astronomical, it's something we can't, you know, I think we just kind of go through it collectively as a body, and, you know, if that means we're introducing new business and doing it that way, you know, I think that's probably potential. But I think until we know for sure what the process is, I think we have to just figure out what that process is first.
I will reach out. My concern about doing it that way respectfully would be, if you're looking for clarity, and you need to kind of look at the whole document in order to make sure you have consistency and clarity. So, but in any event, the conversation.
My point was more about where are the glaring holes that we could have some semblance of a liability or vulnerability. So.
Well, I guess my next step will be to reach out to the solicitor, and I'll get more information about what this might look like or entail. So that's kind of a big project that's going to be on our agenda.
Councilor Conti's there again.
Hello, Council Conti again. Yes.
Council, I'm not trying to work against you, I'm trying to work with you.
I understand.
So I'm gonna prepare that list nice and neat and typed up, all the 14 things that I found, and I'm gonna give it to you to help you, so that you can see what I'm talking about, and maybe that'll help you going forward, and that concludes my comments.
Fair enough. Thank you. All right, next up is kind of related. Pertaining to a request for a special commission to be formed to review the charter. So, here's the problem. There's a solicitor, it's not a problem, it's just some degree a matter of semantics, but there's a solicitor opinion of February 2020 that this body cannot convene a charter commission. A charter commission is something that is created by the residents and the population. They have to vote to have a charter commission. It's a very detailed, thorough process. So just the name can't be charter commission. However, it could be something like a charter review committee or whatever. So that's the first point. The second point is, when it comes to amending the charter, which is, for all intents and purposes, the city's constitution, it's an important document. It's not something you treat lightly. There are 3 different ways to do it. I've summed them up here. First is the Charter Commission, which is extensive and very much scripted by the state as to how you do it. However, it certainly allows for full input of all residents, which I think is paramount when you're touching your foundational document. The second option is that the council can review it and propose changes with a 2/3 vote and concurrence of the mayor. But any proposed changes passed would also have to be voted on. So again, at least you'd get some input from the voters. The third is by special act, which I think most of you are somewhat familiar with, where for certain issues, a home rule petition can be filed, approved by the council, signed by the mayor, and it goes up to the state for approval. A vote on that by the electorate is not required. It's generally, however, a good idea, again, because you're altering the charter. So, yet again, if we were to proceed with a special charter committee, how do we do it? Who's on it? Is it counselors? Is it we pick some people, administration picks some people, and then we get community members? There's different ways to do this. I'm of the mindset that you need I think it's the right and fair thing to do to get community input. If we're gonna do this in a respectful way, I think we need to absolutely can't just be us. I mean, it's one thing to take a strategic strike and just, I want to change that, like, the gender issue, the Council Dolan. But if we're reviewing the whole document, I think it's extremely important that we have public input and feedback and embrace that. So yet again, we'd have to think about, what are we doing? Do we have a defined charge? Or just a wide open charge, review the whole thing? Who do we invite to the conversation? How long are we going to allow this, to take, depending upon which one of those 3 options we take, et cetera, et cetera. So another huge project, certainly worthwhile, certainly meaningful, and I certainly think the charter has room for updates and revisions. So I really, really want to tread carefully here. So, in a future meeting, we'll continue this conversation about how to do this, what way makes the most sense for us. And again, in full respect to the residents and the electorate, how do we proceed? So I know that's a lot, again, to consider. So I don't expect, if you have questions or comments, this is going to be an ongoing conversation for a bit. All right? All right. And next up, new business pertaining to the adoption of a former Vice President Jackson had submitted business asking that we get an annual report on all receipts and expenditures, and she referenced MGL Chapter 4161, which is useful but pertains to towns. So I reached out to the auditor, and Deb has said that she believes there's a document that's called a Schedule A, which her office is required to submit to the Department of Revenue in the fall. Deb says that document would have the relevant information that was being sought about annual receipts and expenditures. And when it's approved by the Department of Revenue, Deb would be able to send it down with kind of a cover letter explaining the information therein to get the information that was sought, I believe, by the request. And again, so I'm going to propose, if not tonight, at the next meeting, that we strike that, because the auditor, I think, is going to give us all that and more with the Schedule A. Anybody have comments, questions? May I move to strike it tonight, or do people want, you guys?
I have no issue with that.
Okay. Then if I may, I would like to, from the docket of February 4th, 2020, I move to strike the item new business to adopt MGL Chapter 41, Section 61, report giving all receipts and expenditures of the city. Anybody, any other thoughts, comments, concerns? All those in favor of striking?
Aye.
Aye. Good, thank you. And I have to say, the auditor is wonderful, a great source of all sorts of information, so I look forward to seeing her submission. Next up, this utility pole placement that Councilor Conti had submitted and indicated at our last meeting that he was okay with it being struck. Is that still accurate, Councilor Conti? You comfortable? Okay. Then I would entertain, from the docket of November 5th, 2019, I entertain a motion to strike the following new business to add a sentence to City Ordinance 9-28 regarding utility pole placement.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Holmes. All those in favor to strike?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, thank you. Okay, and last up, the item pertaining to the positions, exploring, I suppose, the positions between executive and legislative solicitor. This too brings up some issues in my mind. So, a city solicitor has a fiduciary duty to the city. The duty, in my understanding, is not to any individual nor any office, but to the city. So immediately, that question to me makes me wonder, geez, what would that look like? What problems does that, create? Should you get a different opinion from these two different solicitors? So I'm not quite sure that's workable the way as it's proposed because of potential conflicts. Yeah, so I don't know about that one. Now, I don't know if either Councilor Holmes or Councilor Cobus, you want to talk about this, because I don't maybe there's a way we can accomplish what you were seeking here, but I don't know that we could have two people with a duty to the council and a duty to the administration when the duty is to the city. So I don't know how to square that circle.
If I could.
Council Copus.
So this has come up a number of times, and I agree that ideally the solicitor is working on behalf of the city and not for the administration or the council. This issue came up tied to, there was a ruling from the solicitor that the administration could veto a negative vote from the council, and which just didn't make sense. That was a ruling from the solicitor, and it forced a number of individuals to all of a sudden become lawyers ourselves to try to reach out to the Attorney General. The Attorney General said, hey, we're not going to interfere here. And it took a lot of work to convince the solicitor to change their opinion. And eventually the solicitor did it, and that was changed. But there have been a number of instances where this has been a concern, and I 100% agree with you that ideally this wouldn't be an issue, in that we wouldn't be at odds with the solicitor's ruling, but it has come up that we have been. I don't know I don't know that it makes sense for us to have both a solicitor for the administration and for the legislative branch. I know that it's a problem that's come up, so I'm with you that this business as proposed isn't necessarily the solution.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is, but it is a problem that we've seen a few times.
Well, it's an appointed position of 1 year. This body confirms that appointment. So if job performance is unsatisfactory, we don't have to vote to confirm the appointment. Because, as you know, it says that the person is duly outfitted, et cetera, et cetera. I would think that's an issue that could come up at the time of appointment, but I appreciate your comments. But I would think that's the way to do it, is to not confirm the appointment. Right now, that's the only way I can think of. I'm sorry, Councilor Holmes.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and Councilor Clovis is correct that this came about trying to solve a problem that we seemed to be having at the time. We had also talked about potentially, this is a little bit off topic, but hiring in-house, having somebody that just worked here. So this was a bigger discussion about what are we really looking to do here. And so I think it is complicated, but it's a discussion that I think we do need to consider. Do we want somebody that's just for the city that works here at City Hall full-time or not?
So several months ago, when the new budget came down, I had introduced that. It's in Council Reynolds' committee right now, because I do think there's a point at which the expenses warrant the consideration of in-house counsel, because the solicitor is not the only attorney on hire by the city, as you probably know. We hire attorneys to resolve union matters, other litigation issues. So there are other expenses that we're not necessarily, it's not just come under the heading of the $200,000 in the budget for the solicitor. And sometimes that stuff gets very, very expensive. So I agree with you. Perhaps if we were to strike this, we could pick it up in Council Reynolds' business, where we look at the whole idea. Do we want to bring, because I believe at various times we've had in-house counsel and then went to contractual services, so I think it's been back and forth a couple of times. Maybe it's time to re-examine that. However, I still, fundamentally, the duty is to the city. We may not like a decision, and I'm going to put full faith and credit in the attorneys that they're doing their best to do right by the city, because I sure as heck hope so, because that's a professional ethics as well as their obligation. So, but I appreciate your comments, and maybe in Council Reynolds Committee we explore the bigger question of, is it time to think about an office? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Would you like to keep this in committee a little bit longer and have further conversation? Are you okay with moving forward in the business under council, Sarah's, which is to explore this very issue? Or do you want just time to think about it? Councilor Reynolds.
You're muted.
So I don't have any problem with it staying in my committee. You know, I haven't brought out, I was going to have a meeting for all the new counselors to explain where, you know, where the turning monies goes and what we have control over as a city council, which, you know, there are some issues. You know, the school can determine whatever they want to do with monies and solicitors, and we have no say in that. That's, you know, that's a big issue as well, but that's never going to change. The other thing is, you know, this happened in several different cases, not just this administration, but other administrations, and that's why it's gone back and forth. Sometimes an in-house attorney, then we jump to an out of city attorney, and, you know, then they come back in-house. So a lot depends, quite honestly. It's not, I mean, it is an ethical type of a thing, but a lot depends on the administration at the time and how they perceive what the duties are and what we perceive our duties to be. So I think that we've tried to handle it at different times by, you know, saying, no, we're not going to accept this. We get other opinions and we come back, and we have to have the attorney, our own attorney in Attleboro, look at it again. And sometimes they, you know, we've been fortunate that they've seen the line of thinking, and the city council has been able to change that opinion. So I'm more than willing to bring it up again in my committee to discuss it more fully about the issues that we might want to do, whether we want to bring it in-house again, or do we leave it as is. So I have no issue with it, and I leave it to the rest of it. Todd, I think the other person that brought it in is his business, so I can't remember exactly who it came in from. Okay, so however you want to do it, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yes, Councilor Govis.
Yeah, thank you. So Council Reynolds brings up a good point. Historically, there's been that push and pull, and I think that's where, so there's certain pieces of business that come up almost every single term. This is one of them. Graffiti, ATVs, you know, we're almost due for hunting to come back out again. I mean, these are the things that come out quite frequently. One thing I would suggest, and either yourself or Council Reynolds, we call for an executive session where we can go over the expenditures of all of the, because all the attorneys, it's not just all litigation either. So I think we bring them together, and then we kind of, I would recommend maybe an off night, because I would like to have it and see it be very much in depth, where we can ask these questions, we can raise the concerns. Because at the end of the day, in a perfect world, you're right, the ethical, and this is not by any stretch, this discussion is not an indictment of Solicitor Amaru. You know, I think she's done fine, you know, work. There's been there's a historical, there's a history here where with other solicitors, other administrations, you know, where there's been that push-pull. I think we haven't seen, I can't remember the last time the city solicitor came in front of this body. So I think it might be time to have that executive session, and Council Reynolds, perhaps, if I may, through Council Reynolds, have that quarterly meeting, that quarterly executive session where Cindy comes down, you know, the solicitor comes down, we're in executive session, we're talking about the expenditures, we're looking at the cases. One, it's going to help us in case something comes up, but two, I think it's going to help answer a lot of these questions and quell some of the concerns.
Thank you for that, and I did reach out to Jeremy, and I can forward to you for the whole council a spreadsheet of legal expenses.
Sure.
Not just for the solicitor, but for the other attorneys and law firms that the city retains. So I will forward that with all their associated costs.
Well, if I may, I have that. My point is to build the relationship with the city solicitor, to have her explain in a way that a spreadsheet might not explain. I think the spreadsheet's important. It's going to give us that idea. But I think just building that relationship with the solicitor is going to be important in that trust.
All right. But then I would say at this point, in terms of this piece of business, that that the executive legislative, you know, two solicitors isn't the solution. I don't think it's a workable solution to the issues that you present. So I would move to strike this, but continue the conversation as the item stays in Council Reynolds' committee, if you're both okay with that.
Second.
Yes.
Okay. Then from the docket of October 16th, 2018, I move to strike the following. New business to differentiate between the positions of an executive and legislative city solicitor, Section 2-3 of the ordinances of the city.
Second.
Thank you, Council Holmes. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, so just to conclude, thank you for your indulgence. We'll meet next week at 6:30. We'll read out the wastewater, strike that, the water proposed amendments, maybe read them out and vote. And then at the following committee, after you've had time to digest some of the issues presented, I'd like to move some of this stuff forward. Very good. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Wonderful. Thank you both for your patience. I move to adjourn at 8:40.
Second.
Second, thank you, Council Holmes. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to call City Property and Claims Committee to order at 8:40. My members that are present are myself, Councilor Angelo, and Councilor Waterman. From the docket of February 1st, 2020, I entertain a motion to transfer $9,479 from account 1162100-531020, Elections Police, to account 11621000-542020, Election Supplies, Election Equipment, to purchase 10 voting booths to replace booths that are beyond repair.
Second.
Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If anyone has any further questions, concerns, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye, that motion passes. From the docket of February 1st, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $556 from account 1162100-531020, Elections Police, to account 1162100-542020, Election Supplies, Election Equipment, to purchase 4 heavy-duty storage shelving units.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Any questions or concerns?
No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. That motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to accept the following donations to the Council on Aging. $885 in food gift cards from Home Instead, and $60 of food gift cards from Hope Health VA.
Second.
Thank you. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Are always very thankful for these types of donations. Any questions or concerns?
Nope.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to declare the following Department of Public Works vehicles as surplus and available for disposition. A 1988 International H-18. The VIN number is 1HTL-AZR-M4JH568780, and the condition is poor. A 1989 International H-21. VIN number 1HTLA-ZPP-XKH670003, also in poor condition. A 2007 GMC Sierra H-28, VIN number 1GTH23K87F541388, poor condition. A 2007 GMC Sierra H-1, VIN number 1GTH-K24K27E581681, poor condition. And a 1997 Bombardier Bomb-2, VIN number 0119703112, also in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Most of these are older models. If there are no further questions or any concerns, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion passes. That is all the business City Property and Claims Committee has this evening. I would like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 8:44 p.m.
Reporting for Public Safety Committee at, what is that? 8:44. I have some 4 or 5 motions to bring forth. The first, I entertain a motion to approve expending $10,705.30 of the Shannon CSI grant received by the Attleboro Police Department and approve any future grant amendment.
Second.
We got a second?
Second.
Okay, I didn't hear, sorry. We get this grant every year. We're very fortunate. We get some good grant writers. And there's a lot of cities and towns that don't get it, so kudos to them. Any questions from my fellow councilors? Or my committee first?
No.
No? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. We're going to skip the next one because we haven't had a public hearing yet. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the expending of the generous request of $43,873.91 from the estate of Margaret Santuri to the City of Attleboro Fire Department to be used towards emergency medical services, medical equipment, or towards the purchase of a new ambulance. I've been on this committee, this council for a long time, and I can't remember one of that magnitude being given it to us, you know, other than the suites and whatnot, their trust funds they set up. But this is coming from an individual and, you know, family and whatnot. I'm sure if she's got family, they had to be behind this because that's a lot of money. And I looked at it and I said, maybe we can use some of that towards the ambulance, but I'll get in touch with the fire chief anyway. Just curious what he would use it for other than putting it towards an ambulance. Any questions on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $110,413.15 from account 1000-3590000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 1220100-511000 fire salary and wages for earned time payments
Second.
of a recent retiree. You got a second?
Second.
Thank you. This is pretty self-explanatory. I believe the gentleman that's is retired, put 35 years in on the fire department. And to get that amount of sick time and whatnot, it's got to be a dedicated gentleman and get up and go into work. You know, he's not looking for a free day off, so he's entitled to it, and it saves us a lot of money in the long run. Better off to pay out the benefit than him take it, and then you got to hire somebody a time and a half to take a shift over. So it's beneficial to the city. We have those type of people that go in, do their job, and help keep us safe. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. From the docket of January 18th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $456,744.75 from account 1000-3590000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to fund 3565 self-contained breathing apparatus for the fire department.
Second.
That's self-explanatory, and it sounds like a lot of money, but with the chemicals out there that we have, and even in a regular home now, you go in, there's a lot of plastics and stuff
that you could breathe the smoke before and it didn't affect you, but you go in a building today, you don't know what you're going in for. And they need the right equipment. And if we're gonna spend money to protect these people, we have to. If you get a ill-equipped, either fire or police department, it's hard enough hiring competent help without trying to hire help when they come in and they don't have the equipment to work with.
Do we know how many are being?
Excuse me?
Do we know how many are being purchased?
I think they got, if I read mine, I've had this stuff spread all over my house, but I think it was 16 altogether, I believe. It's not a cheap item, and we have them, but they're outdated and they don't meet specs anymore. Any other questions, comments? Not hearing any? All those in favor?
Peter?
Yes,
Peter?
yes, dear.
I would ask if we could find out the exact number.
Yeah, I'll find out. But it's
that's
not,
okay?
it's not extraordinary number there. It's more or less replacing equipment that's outdated.
Okay.
I'll find out for you, but I don't think we should hold
Yeah.
it up.
No, I don't mind, I'll vote it out. I just would like to have some additional info on that.
I'll get it for you and give you a buzz.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Well, that's about it for me, I think. I don't think I missed anything this week. Let's call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time. Move to adjourn at 8:51.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 8:51.
Special Committee on Tax Abatement Review.
Can't hear you, Rick.
You're muted,
Can you hear
Rick.
me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So I call the Special Committee for Tax Abatement Review to order at 8:51. Sitting on this committee is myself, Council DeSimone as the Vice Chair, and Council Bennett. I have some information I want to put into the record. I found a way of mining the information from the Department of Revenue for the circuit breaker, dollar volume, filers, and tax information. So what I learned is that in 2018, Attleboro filed 23,289 state tax returns, of which 515 were circuit breaker filers claiming $435,498 credit with an average of $846 per return. The 2019 data from the Department of Revenue will be available shortly, but I thought that these numbers were the first time that we had some hard figures to work with on our consideration for the several measures that are in front of our committee. And I wanted to share it with you, and of course I can't do that except in a public meeting. So that concludes the things that I want to bring in front of you, but I'm interested if any of you have any comments.
I do. Councilor Conti, what are your thoughts on the special acted for the senior means tested exemption that is in our committee? Are we going to talk about that, or?
Certainly happy to talk about it. We haven't had an opportunity to discuss it collectively, so do you wish to begin a discussion on the subject?
Yes, I think this is important, and I'm all for moving it forward as quickly as possible to benefit the people who may be eligible. And prior to submitting this, I worked with Council Delicio and the assessor to explore this, to make sure that it was proper, that it, she was comfortable with the numbers and the language, and I don't mean to speak for the assessor, but I believe that she is. She is good, made some changes. As far as how this may impact, she is, if I may read just from parts of an email exchange that went back and forth, she talks about The question was, what will the impact of this be? What will be the cost? And she says, based on historical information, there's an estimated 540 residents who would qualify. This number includes renters, 50%. Hang on, I'm just trying to look at a dollar amount. So this would equate overall to $315,900. The home valued at $359,600 would realize an increase of $2,158. But if the city council, let me see, blah, 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 270. So about 540 residents who might be able to qualify for this particular piece of business, which I think is important. And from what I understand from my research, is not unusual. The senior means tested exemption. So I don't know when you want to discuss it further and possibly get voting on it. But.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to get the 2019 figures from the Massachusetts Department of Revenue, which they told me today is coming out shortly.
Okay.
And I'd like to meet with Julie one-on-one and review the information that you just disclosed.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is I'd like to have the council to have the proper figures and a full understanding of the ordinance, to understand the impact for the taxpayer as well as the benefit to the senior.
Fair enough.
So I just want to make sure that's all really clear. And it shouldn't take long to get that done. I'm thinking certainly within the month, if that doesn't seem to be too long for your timetable.
No, not at all. Fair enough.
Very good. Any other comments?
Councilor Conti, if I may.
Yes, please.
So, thank you. I think you're the right person for this, given your day job. I appreciate the fact you're going to speak with the city assessor. My request, if possible, if it makes sense, would you be willing to have the city assessor come down to be able to answer some of the questions from the council? Because I think this is something that warrants having her in front of us to get some of the questions and clear up some of the muddy water that might be out there surrounding this, because I do want to recognize the work and research that Councilor DeSimone put into this, but I think in conjunction with that, I think it's important to have the city assessor come down as well.
Will do.
Thank you, sir.
Any further comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I declare the Special Committee on Tax Abatement Review to be adjourned at 8:57. Thank you.
And that is it.
That's a wrap, right?
That's